Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, are you serious about the drought in California? It is getting to biblical proportions. Let me read something for you. Grab a Bible. I got one verse that will help you understand the drought in California. Now, we occasionally have heard the stories, of course, of the great dust bowls that swept across America in the grain-rich Midwest during the Great Depression in the 1930s. And you guys knew all about that. But when this prolonged drought became so extreme as strong winds, drought, and clouds of dust plagued nearly 75% of the United States of America's farmland, the Dust Bowl lasted for 8 years, from 1931 to 1939. During the entire Great Depression, there was also a dust bowl blowing the topsoil all over the place. Yet we hear very little about the United States national media of this new dust bowl that's beginning in California that threatens this entire state. Now, the origins of the 1930s Dust Bowl went back to the introduction of a large-scale mechanical agriculture across the Midwest prairie lands. It was in the early 1920s that the Federal Reserve interest rates policies triggered a deep recession, and for people to survive, farmers turned to mechanical tractors and the new Ford tractors and other equipment. And between 1925 and 1930, more than 5 million acres of previously unfarmed land was plowed. Now, the United States farmers, as a result, produced a record crop of agriculture in 1931. And of course, just in time for the absolute collapse of the Great Depression of the era. When the Great Depression hit, and they had to renege, they had bumper crops. But guess what? There were so many crops, people didn't have money to buy it. Too many crops, plus the people were broke from the stock market's crash. They didn't have money, so the prices of the crops went rock bottom low. Thus, the farmers who had borrowed money from the banks could no longer pay their mortgages or pay their payments on their farms and tractors, and they went belly up. Then we had records amounts of farmland barren, not being planted, and the winds began to blow and the drought set on the land. Now, this was certainly a period of a great curse that came over America in the 1930s leading up to World War II. It's simply because America got back on its knees and started praying and started repenting of its sins and calling on the name of the Lord, that God began to lift a standard. Now, here we are again. We have spent trillions of dollars in fighting in the Middle East, and we're in worse condition with radical Islam than we were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's way more threat now. The enemy is everywhere and increasing. Meanwhile, our economy is really teetering on a major collapse in this Shemitah year. And we have a drought going into its 4th year now in California and Nevada that is of biblical proportions. Are you serious? What? What does the Bible say about this? Well, the Lord said, and you have to remember always remember, God is not mocked. Look what America has been doing. Look at the injustices. Look at the cultural collapse. Look at the moral standard that's bankrupt. Look at our rejection of God. Look at our pagan and idol worship. Look at what we're doing. Now, here's what it says in Amos chapter 4, verse 7. And also I have withholden the rain from you. Let's read that again. And also I have withholden the rain from you when there was yet 3 months to the harvest. And I caused it to rain upon one city, and caused it not to rain upon another city. one piece was rained upon, and the piece whereon it rained not withered. So 2 or 3 cities wandered unto one city to drink the water, but they were not satisfied. Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith the Lord? So God sent a drought, and he let it rain in one place, but not in these other 2 or 3 cities. And it got so bad, the people in the 2 or 3 cities where the drought was, or let's say California and Nevada, started migrating to cities where there was water, but there wasn't enough then for everybody. And I'm telling you, you're going to see the price of water raise way beyond the price of oil. Water will become the most expensive liquid on the planet. It will be what literally people will be, it'll be almost worth its weight in gold. And we know that the Bible tells us in the book of Revelation that the barley and the wheat, the oil and the wine, all of these things are going to be affected by a global economic collapse. The black horseman of the apocalypse. And folks, you might be just trying to ignore what's happening in California, but there's already thousands of people whose personal wells have gone dry. And now cities have begun the rationing, and it will get worse and worse this year. And literally, there's only 1 year worth of water left right now in reserve in California. They're in trouble. If it doesn't really come some heavy rain and significant rain over an 18-month period, the population is growing in California, the demand for water is increasing, and the amount of water they're getting is decreasing drastically. Are you serious? But God will let it rain in one spot and not in 2 or 3 other spots. And this is going to create chaos in the land. We are living on the end times. We are watching the apocalyptic, prophetic signs of the times are manifesting before our very eyes. But men love darkness rather than light and won't come to the light, lest their deeds be reproved. And so I'm preaching to you today that we need to look to the Lord. We need to go to the hill from whence cometh our help. We need to go to the rock of our salvation. And his name is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I'll be right back with more current world events and how they relate to Bible prophecy. Do not miss today's live broadcast at 12 noon Eastern. It will be powerful. Are you serious?